Hey guys, Firebolt here, and today I'll be showing you a very simple TNT concrete maker that's 100% lossless and has been tested for nearly a week with over 3 million concrete. First we'll look at the design and how to use it, I'll go over some things you should know before building it, and finally we'll get straight into the tutorial. There will also be a world download in the description if you would like to test out the design or make a Lightmatic. Also, this design works for Java Edition 1.14, 1.15, 1.16, and even the current 1.17 snapshots as of me recording this. Finally, it does not work in Bedrock Edition. Make sure to watch until the end of the video because I will likely address any questions that you may have. If I don't, then feel free to leave a comment down below with your questions. The basic concept is that you hold down right click to place concrete powder while AFK, it gets converted into concrete, and then the blocks are broken and stored in the chests below. There are many designs for TNT based concrete makers out there, and I've used several of them in survival before. However, I usually get annoyed because the designs tend to be very complicated, a lot of concrete is stored in excess waiting to be blasted in your next concrete converting session, or you lose a decent amount of concrete every time you use it. My goal was to tackle each and every one of these issues. So here's the design. It's very small as you can see, and I'm just going to go into survival real quick to demonstrate how to use this. So to use the machine, you would put all your concrete powder into the chest here. Then you would flick the lever to start the machine, and you'll be given concrete powder. As you can see, TNT will start falling down, and you can right click against the back block here. And that's all there is to it. Also, in case you were wondering, I use a waterlogged stair here to convert the powder to normal concrete. Since players can place 5 blocks per second by default when holding down right click, this allows you to place 18,000 concrete powder per hour. In order to AFK here, you can either use an auto clicker for placing concrete powder, or you can set your right click to a key on your keyboard that you can put a weight on, so the weight holds down the key, which allows you to place concrete without you needing to manually hold down right click. As long as you have concrete powder in the dropper, you'll be able to AFK place concrete for as long as you'd like. Also remember to only put in one color of concrete powder at a time. Once you finish all of your one color of concrete powder, you can then put in the next color of concrete powder into the dropper. Of course, when you're done, just flick the lever to stop the TNT duper. The TNT is duped rather quickly over here in order to keep up with the player's placing speed. I also used water to store the prime TNT before sending each one to blow up the concrete. First, the TNT is dropped onto a trapdoor that opens and closes not long after the TNT lands on it. This way the TNT loses all downwards momentum that would otherwise cause it to get through the water at different speeds, since each duped TNT has a different initial momentum. If that happened, it would make the exploding point unpredictable and unreliable. The chest and daylight sensor here are used in order to allow the TNT to move slightly quicker forward. You'll notice that it moves quicker when there's no chest anymore below it for a brief second as it moves to the daylight sensor. The block heights of each are perfect, so the TNT moves just enough so the design is 100% lossless based on where the TNT lands. If the TNT would move forward any slower, then it would explode too high. In order to consistently break every concrete block, like there would be a concrete block here, and it may not always break that concrete block, but with this design it always breaks that concrete block, which means that the design will be 18,000 per hour rather than any slower. If the TNT dropped any faster, then it would break too many concrete blocks, like it would break the concrete blocks up here when it explodes, meaning if the concrete items drop from the higher up position, like from here, then they would be exploded, just like you saw there, by the following TNT. And that is a rare occurrence, but it still happens, so to keep this design 100% lossless, this is the setup that you'd need. The obsidian is part of what stops the TNT from blowing up the concrete beyond this point here, which means when the items are dropped from this block rather than any higher, they would take a shorter amount of time to get to the collection below. As I've explained, we want this time to be shorter so that when the next TNT blows up, it doesn't accidentally blow up any items that took too long to get to the bottom from higher up. Also, these composters are here to reduce any hopper lag, and really the only concrete that's necessary to already have here is the one that's blocking the water from the stair from spilling outwards. And finally, just make sure you have more storage below the machine than you would have in the dropper and chest over here, in case you fill up the dropper and chest here and you wouldn't have enough space in the chests below for all the concrete. Also, make sure you have 2 hoppers instead of just one delivering items between any chests that you'll have here and the dropper here, because this produces 18,000 concrete per hour, and so you'll want the dropper system to be able to keep up, and 2 hoppers are enough to keep up. And also down here, we just have 1 hopper collecting items from the drops up there. However, this is fine because it's pushing items into this hopper, and this hopper is pulling items from that hopper, which means it can still handle 18,000 items per hour. And then, of course, just make sure that there are 2 hoppers below each of the double chests that you have leading down like this. That way, the system can still keep up with 18,000 items per hour. When using this machine in survival, remember to stand in front of the dropper here so you can pick up the concrete powder it gives you, and try not to stand too far beyond whether you have a glass pane here or an iron bar. Try not to stand too far in front of it, otherwise you may take damage from the TNT below. And it does not matter what blast resistance any of the blocks above this obsidian are, as long as this block is obsidian. Like this could be a slime block, for example, and it would be perfectly fine. And slime blocks have a blast resistance of 0, and as you can see, the TNT is not blowing up that slime block because it's just dropping low enough that this obsidian is blocking any of the blast that the slime block would have otherwise taken. On very rare occasions, lightning can actually strike either you or the TNT duper's minecart if you build this outside, so to prevent that, you can add a roof out of glass like this. And just so you know, from the composter's level, if you build up 1, 2, and then the 3rd level is glass. Now that you know how this design works, let's get straight into the tutorial. For this build, you will need the resources listed here. 103 building blocks of your choice, 52 glass blocks for the lightning protection roof if you're building this outside, 14 hoppers, 9 chests, although you may need more depending on how much storage for concrete you would like, 6 slime blocks. There are several tutorials out there on YouTube for getting slime balls quickly. You will also need 4 composters, although these are optional. They only reduce a little lag. 1 concrete block to block off the water. The other 3 concrete aren't really necessary, as I've mentioned earlier. 4 observers, 4 redstone dust, some water, 3 fence gates, 2 walls, 2 trap doors, 2 stairs, 2 sticky pistons, 1 daylight sensor, 1 coral fan. Remember, these can only be mined with silk touch. 1 detector rail, 1 dropper, 1 furnace, 1 glass pane or iron bar, 1 lever, 1 obsidian, 1 piston, 1 comparator, 1 string, and 1 TNT. Once you have everything, you can begin. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you found it helpful, consider sharing it with your friends or checking out some other videos on my channel that you may also find interesting. Just liking the video or leaving a comment about ideas for future videos you may want to see on my channel would be appreciated, and don't forget the world download for this design if you're interested in building it. That's all for now, so I'll see you guys next time.